Demon Slayer is finally back, and with it another season of dealing with people saying Mid Slayer, Demon Slayer carried by animation, Demon Slayer doesn't have a story.
My ass!
But if you're not miserable or 12 years old, which is to say normal, this episode had a brilliant mix of action, comedy, and great character moments, and was a brilliant setup for what is coming in the Hashira training arc, including a really big twist with Kaguya and Tamayo that I never saw coming. So strap in and let's talk about the Hashira training arc, episode 1. Live life like a Hashira without breaking the bank, which I don't know if you'd want to do that, but point being, using the code CTactics gets you 10% off your Gamer Subs orders. Whether you're looking for delicious Gamer Subs to level up your game with nootropics for better focus, or simply looking for some next level merch from your favorite VTubers or content creators from those like Silvervale, Egyptian, or even Meat Canyon, Gamer Subs is really your only choice. Every time you use my code, I get some kickback, so check it. This episode starts perfectly with a massive action scene with amazing visuals that Ufotable has long been known for. The Hashira there, Obanai and Saname, are on the case to rescue a woman who has been taken from a village. This scene for most is fairly straightforward as they go into the abandoned castle from the restoration period. It's customary that when these castles get to the point where they break down beyond repair, they abandon them. And as a side note, by the way, the restoration period in Japan was from 1868 to 1869. So Demon Slayer taking place in the Taisho era, which dates from 1912 to 1926. Well, you can guess that these were kind of old even then. As well, if these castles weren't abandoned by the end of the Meiji Restoration, they were dismantled. So this one being so remote, it was left intact as it was quite literally forgotten once imperial rule was over. Sanemi seems to have a bit of a sour attitude though, and sees everyone below him as pretty much scrubs. Obanai, not nearly as much, as he seems more observant and collected when it comes to his feelings. They spot the demon with the woman and thusly begin their attack on the demon's imperial castle. This scene is just absolutely brilliant Ufotable stuff going on here. I mean, this animation in this series is always just so easy to look at and so smooth that I often forget I'm even watching an anime at times. Like, it doesn't feel as if they're trying to show flashy animation for the sake of it, but instead make it an experience that enhances the overall story of the scene. Really, it's true art. The two eventually chase down the main demon to the edge of the castle where he jumps, and they follow, revealing none other than the Infinity Castle to their eyes. Needless to say, they are shocked to see this castle that stretches onwards in each direction endlessly, as if some kind of elaborate multi-dimensional painting coming to life. And really, what an amazing opening to a season. The music is also great, may I add, as it added so much suspense to this scene overall. Then we get one of our, feels like forever since we've been in a scene with a silent and solemn Kanao, who is, well, silent as always. When asked if she can be dropped off by the end of the crossroads, she says nothing and instead silently nods. I love Kanao, by the way. She's one of those characters like Tanjiro where the design of the character itself kind of just speaks to the heart and really calms me down just looking at her, you know? And you know, I've always tried to think about why that is with Kanao, but I think I've come up with it. I think it's that stupid fucking hair thing in her hair. She finally makes her way back where she is welcomed back and goes to Shinobu, who is silently feeding her goldfish. At least that's what I think they look like. As we've established, I'm pretty dumb. Shinobu tells Kanao that with Nezuko now not dying or turning into ashes in direct sunlight, which they show Nezuko fighting to stay awake. God, I love her so much. She is now in danger and likely is Muzan's #1 person to capture as a demon. Like, Nezuko, who can survive in direct sunlight, kind of means that could be a new toy for him, and as well, someone to experiment on to solve his biggest weakness. This now means that, now more than ever, Nezuko, and I kind of can't believe this, but plot-wise, we now must literally protect, but like more now, and Miss Kanao must also protect Nezuko while Shinobu heads to an emergency Hashira meeting at Ubuyashiki's castle. It seems that Kanao has grown much stronger as she is now trusted by Shinobu to look after Nezuko while she is away. This is massive for her, as it shows that while everyone else grows stronger, Kanao as well is growing to be more reliable as time goes on. Not that she wasn't before, but she's coming into her own. Seems to me that Tanjiro as well has had a positive effect on her life after the coin flip, because things seem to just keep going up for her. I ship it. We also reconnect with our main trio, starting with Tanjiro, who is in bed recovering after the insane battle at Swordsmith Village. We learn here that those in the village think so far in advance that they maintain empty villages for the occasion that they must relocate elsewhere. So this means that Swordsmith Village is practically not one set location, but an ever-moving group of men, women, and children that at the first sign of being found out move to a different location. We also learn that Mitsuri Kanroji is quite the quirky lady, as she can put it away, sister, and told Tanjiro to essentially eat like a demon to help recover faster, and that he does. Boy, does he scarf it down like Holo eating a bunch of cheesy potatoes. This episode gives quite a spotlight to Mitsuri though, which I appreciate as she's one of my favorite Hashira. I even own a neat little figure of her that sits on my desk right there. Ain't she the cutest thing you've ever seen? And you know what that means, right? They then turn their attention to Nezuko, where it's revealed they're looking into Nezuko's state, whether she's turning, evolving, or changing into something else entirely. Tanjiro almost spills the beans that Lady Tamayo is looking into it, which, yeah, you know, I almost forgot that their existence is to be a secret. It's kind of crazy though, because season 1 was way back in 2018, you know, before the apocalypse, and it seems that we've only been getting more and more consistent over time with Demon Slayer releases, which may be another sign of the apocalypse. But there is a sense of confusion in the air from them as of now because of the emergency meeting that's called. And, of course, the call to be on high alert and with Nezuko's state. Well, you know, it's a unique time for everyone, it seems. So the big scene, everyone is gathered for the emergency meeting, which will be led by Kaguya's wife, Amane, and he has become too sick to the point where he can't even move any longer. In other words, Kaguya is coming to the end of his life. But the one thing we've been waiting for, everyone is finally here. Muichiro, Mitsuri, Gyome, Saname, Obanai, Tomioka. The latter asks how Mitsuri is doing, which causes her to blush something mad fierce, which is adorable. Gyome, the stone Hashira, gets to the point and expresses some concern over losing Hashira, as if they lose any more, the core could be at risk. And this is true. They've lost Tengen, they've lost Rengoku at this point. Granted, though Tengen is now just training new cadets, though he commends them while tears run down his face, as it's commendable that they were able to take out 2 upper ranks without losing anyone's life. And I get the feeling that Gyome, from the way he acts, is one of those extremely, you know, super tough guys on the outside, that if you were to judge by the looks, he'd be this macho and manly dude. But, you know, I get the feeling Gyome is more of a monk type, where he is quiet and in touch with his soul and spirituality. This is way more manly, as just being a tough guy, you know, it's kind of lame. Kind of lame always, really. So to me, that's more intimidating, as if someone who is calm and can fight and be tough, I mean, that's an absolute destructive force right there. The meeting opens up with Amane announcing and apologizing to them, as Kaguya is in such a state he has chosen to never face them again. This leaves everyone in absolute shock as they bow their heads in respect. Gyome wishing for Kaguya's life to burn on at least for one more day. As well, they are also informed that with Nezuko's new ability, Muzan will likely be coming after her. This leads to them discussing the marks that appeared on Muichiro and Mitsuri, which have been foretold through them through this legend that they have. As well as side note, I love Mitsuri's bird squirming while looking at Amane, as if burbs can just be attracted to humans, lol. Just a quirky thing I love. But anyways, Amane informs them that they must teach everyone how to achieve these marks on their body, as while the legend is correct, over time, most of the information has been lost, except one piece. Quote, when one person bearing the mark appears, those around him also manifest marks as if resonating with them. The first to bear it was Tanjiro, now Mitsuri and Muichiro. So now it is up to them to inform them of what this ability really is. Mitsuri begins, and well, she wasn't super descriptive, and at first, yeah, she had trouble even getting the words out. Scratch that, it really, the whole thing really wasn't good, was it? But Muichiro, on the other hand, can explain it much better. OpenEye even face palms a Mitsuri though. And also, detail here, blink and you'll miss it. Mitsuri says, quote, I wish I could crawl into a hole. Now, this is important because this is a similar quote to what Rengoku would say. This is significant because Rengoku was Mitsuri's master, so that's just a nice detail and yet another example of the legacy of Rengoku that Mitsuri is constantly keeping alive. Continuing, Muichiro essentially explains that to unlock this ability, it's a combination of being in a state of near death, and for him it was 200 beats per minute and 100-degree fever, and as well experiencing some strong feeling or memory. Basically, the Hashira have to overcome death itself, though Amane tells them that those who bear these marks will, I don't know. They cut away. They didn't finish that part. I guess that it's not death though, as they have to overcome death itself to obtain this mark. The key reason is that Gyomei wonders what will happen to his body. So my guess is 1, they lose the function of their brains and thus become vegetables, or 2, they just like turn into something else entirely. What that is, me not know. Me just know not death. But as an argument breaks out, Gyomei puts his foot down and demands they continue the meeting because, well, he's got a plan. While that's happening, Tanjiro, during recovery, reveals that Nezuko is playing with Kyo, Naho, and Sumi. Zenitsu finally makes his way back. He's super happy that he's being greeted by the 3 as he gloats to the 3 of them, trying to impress them. But this is when Aoi comes to greet him, and I just gotta say, I love Aoi. Can we keep bringing her back? Can we get her own show, please? Can we? And hell breaks loose as Nezuko follows quickly behind, as sweet as ever. Seriously, I think I agree with Zenitsu here. Nezuko is simply adorable and we must protect. That being said, Zenitsu nearly blows a gasket, or maybe like several, when he sees Nezuko and wants to marry her. Well, that is until Nezuko calls Zenitsu Inosuke, because Inosuke has been teaching her how to say his name. This shatters Zenitsu's heart. As you could guess, it was... It was just so sweet though when Nezuko tried pronouncing Inosuke's name. Oh God. Why? I'm gonna die from sweetness overload. I cannot bear it. Next scene! Hagenazuka-san, this scene. Hagenazuka-san, in a disheveled state, delivers Tanjiro's new blade that simply says, with the kanji for destroy on it, which predates the traditional Hashira blades, which usually say destroyer of demons, who made it, and the names, right? I also love I just love the love that Rengoku got in this episode with the Mitsuri detail and now Rengoku's guard being applied to the blade. Rengoku is such a great character. And hey, if you love him like I do, I have a video coming out this week analyzing the set your heart ablaze speech at the end of Mugen Train. I love the first words Hagenazuka-san can only get out. He just goes blah, blah, blah. Which of course reminds me of blah, blah, blah. Anyways, this blade had no engraving from the maker of it because this blade was only used for one thing: to kill demons. This means, well, this sword is badass. So badass that it doesn't even care if you know it exists or know its maker. It doesn't need one. It's only meant to kill demons and it doesn't care. Because I guess it has a brain now. As Hagenazuka-san finally shambles out on his way home, Genya tells him to quiet down just before Inosuke bursts through the window, shattering it and the silence, and proceeds to dance to a mighty groovy tune, by the way, while Genya makes this face. Inosuke's reason, though? Because they're training or something. He doesn't remember the details, so of course we gotta break the window. Poor Aoi. The Hashira have finally agreed upon a plan as they try to figure out what Muzan's next move will be. They can't be too sure Nezuko is their #1 priority though, as sightings of demons have dwindled since then. Because of this, for the first time in a long time, they are now finally able to train with their Sugoku, hence the name of the arc, the Hashira training arc. They as well will be asking former Hashira to train the Sugoku. When Tanjiro hears he'll be training with the Hashira, he's pretty excited, but Zenitsu on the other hand, well, not so much. Tanjiro sees it as a great way to shortcut learning, while Zenitsu's response is to claim they're not friends anymore and eat Tanjiro's skull. But Tanjiro thanks him anyways, as his thunder-breathing technique is what allowed him to behead the demon at the end of the Swordsmith village. This doesn't change anything for Zenitsu though. He don't care, he's leaving. He doesn't want any part of this. And I guys gotta say, I love the comedy in Demon Slayer, but you know, as you guys have known over the years, I say this every season, it's just so goofy and lighthearted, and I love how much of a breath of a fresh air it brings to this show, as when stuff, goes down, this series can get really dark, and I think that's sort of an underrated aspect that not many people notice about Demon Slayer. Speaking of stuff going down, we finally get to see Hot Tengen with his hot wives for the first time since the Entertainment District arc, rest in peace Daki, in which they cook a massive meal for every one of the Sugoku. This scene is to basically run down each of the Hashira's abilities and their specialties, and let me tell you, as a YouTuber, I need to train with Mitsuri. Learning how to be more flexible will surely help me in this line of work. Ugh. And yeah, sure, she's gonna dislocate my entire body from my body, but I think I need it. Later that evening, Tanjiro is attacked by a crow, which is a letter from Kaguya that states that Tomioka is not taking part in Hashira training arc. I wish he said that, by the way. Tomioka is not taking part in Hashira training arc season which one were 4? For some reason, I sense a Tomioka character arc incoming though. I'd be so down for it. The last time we focused on him was in season 1, which is way too long for my liking. Tomioka has such a killer design in VA. We then get a rather bittersweet scene where Amane is taking care of Kaguya, informing them of the plan, and Kaguya simply says to her, "Amane, for all that you've done, thank you from the bottom of my heart." This causes her to break into tears. By the way, sorry for the voice acting, that was bad. I couldn't ever imagine marrying a man like Kaguya. Should have rephrased that in the script, but anyways, and seeing him waste away as he has. To be so strong, smart, courageous, and to only have humanity's best interests, and yet he is forced to suffer for the final years of his life in such a state in front of his loved ones and the people he cares the most about. I feel sad for people who must go through this kind of thing. It isn't easy. So if you are struggling with something like that, my condolences. I hope you get through something like this. On a more positive note, Kaguya's crow finds Tamayo, oh my god, she's back, and asks her, along with Shinobu, to study Nezuko and figure out why she cannot be burned by the sun. And this is another character from season 1 that I've missed as well, because Tamayo also has a pretty great design, and the fact that she's this sciencey character who may not be able to fight, but she can uncover so many other secrets about demons that she's immensely fascinating to me, and it seems as if her character is going to pay off big time in this arc. But let me know what you guys thought about this first episode of the Hashira training arc. I am so excited for Demon Slayer's return, and I do apologize for this video coming out on Sunday, and I apologize for this truncated ending for this video. With Ranger Reject in this video, I simply couldn't make this video a reality for Sunday, so today, it's gonna come out Monday. However, expect these videos to, though, come out on Sunday. I just said a lot of very confusing things. Besides that, please do subscribe and drop a like on the video, all of that nonsense to help push the videos in the algorithm. Thank you so much everyone for watching. Bye-bye.